Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Candy's Recovery Journey. I'm Candy. Give me just a minute. I'm here to first read the second part of the Step 4 inventory for you from It Works How and Why. So, we left off on page 39 at the last paragraph. If you have the book, you can follow along with me, or if you don't, you can just listen to me read it. And we're going to read up to page 43 today, the next to the last paragraph on that. Most of us don't have much experience with the type of self-appraisal we are about to do, and we must have the guidance and support of our sponsor in order to understand what we're doing. Our sponsor may give us a format to follow, certain subjects or points to concentrate on, or just general guidance. Not only can our sponsor provide direction for the actual inventory, he or she can encourage us to be courageous, remind us to pray, and be emotionally supportive throughout this process. We often strengthen our relationship with our sponsor by relying on her or his experience at this time. Okay, once again, I know I said it before in the first video, but I'm going to say it again. It is so important, not just with this step, but with all of the steps, to have a sponsor that you trust, that you can work with, that you have faith in, confidence in. And please do not work these steps alone. Please, please, please. Consistent action on our fourth step is important. We can't afford to delay work on our inventory. Once we begin writing, we need to continue our inventory until we are done. If we have a tendency to procrastinate, it is a good idea to set aside a certain amount of time each day to work on our inventory. Such a routine establishes our inventory as a high priority in our lives. If we put our fourth step away once we have begun, we run the risk of never returning to it. That is so true. If you start writing and you get mad or you get upset or any myriad of reasons you choose to put it away, I can guarantee there's almost a 99% chance that you're not going to pick it back up. And if you want to continue learning about yourself on your own recovery journey, this is the step that helps us get there. I'm sorry, I needed some coffee. Okay, we are painstaking and detail-oriented in our inventory. We systematically examine all aspects of our lives. We begin to see and understand the truth about ourselves, our motives, and our patterns. It is important that we look at more than one dimension of our experience. What motivated us to act the way we did? What repercussions did our behavior have in our lives? How did our behavior affect those around us? How did we harm others? How did we feel about our actions and others' reactions? While these are only a few of the points we address in our inventories, we have found them and other issues like them to be essential areas to examine. In the fourth step, it is important to take a good, hard look at how fear has worked in our lives. Our experience tells us that self-centered fear is at the root of our disease. Many of us have pretended to be fearless when in fact we were terrified. Fear has driven us to act rashly in trying to protect ourselves. We have often been paralyzed into inaction because of our fears. We may have resorted to scheming and manipulating because we feared the future. We went to extremes to protect ourselves from what we saw as potential loss, disaster, and a constant lack of what we needed. In the past, we had no faith that a higher power would care for us. Therefore, we attempted to take control of our lives and everything around us. We used people, we manipulated, we lied, we plotted, we planned, we stole, we cheated, and then we lied some more to cover up our schemes. We experienced envy, jealousy, and deep gut-wrenching insecurities. we were alone. As we drove away the people who cared about us, we used more drugs, trying to cover up our feelings. The lonelier we felt, the more we tried to control everything and everybody. We suffered when things didn't go our way, but so strong was our desire for power and control that we couldn't see the futility of our efforts to manage events. In our new lives, we have faith in a loving God whose will for us is better than anything we could manipulate or control for ourselves. We need not fear what might happen. In our inventories, we assess the emotional effects of our addiction. Some of us became so skilled at shutting down our feelings with drugs or other distractions that by the time we came to our first meeting, we had lost touch with our own emotions. In recovery, we learn to identify what we are feeling. Naming our feelings is important, for once we do so, we can begin to deal with them. And see, this is the part in the steps where we start dealing with all of the stuff that we've done and admitting to what we've done and putting it down on paper and just getting it out there so that we can see what our patterns are and work at changing those. Rather than panicking over how we feel, we can specifically say how we're feeling. This gets us away from our limited way of identifying feelings as good or bad, with not much in between. We make a list of our resentments, for they often play a large part in making our recovery uncomfortable. We cannot allow ourselves to be obsessed with hostility toward others. We look at the institutions that may have affected us. Our families, schools, employers, organized religion, the law, or jails. We list the people, places, social values, institutions, and situations against which we bear anger. We examine not only the circumstances surrounding these resentments, but we look at the part we played in them. What in us was so threatened that we experienced such deep emotional torment? Often we will see that the same areas of our lives were affected again and again. We look at our relationships as well, especially the manner in which we related to our families. We don't do this to place blame for our addiction on our families. We keep in mind that we are writing an inventory of ourselves, not of others. We write about how we felt about our families and the way we acted on our feelings. In most cases, we'll find that the patterns of behavior we established early in life are what we've carried with us up to the present. Some of our patterns and choices have served us well, while others have not. Through the inventory, we search for the patterns we want to continue and those we want to change. Writing about all of our relationships is very important, and we'll want to pay particular attention to our friendships. If we gloss over examining our platonic friendships in favor of focusing on romantic relationships, our inventories will be incomplete. Many of us come to AA never having had a long-term friendship because of conflicts within ourselves. Those conflicts were the real grounds for the arguments we started with our friends and our ensuing refusal to work through the disagreement and continue the friendship. Some of us felt that we would end up getting hurt in any close friendship, so before that happened, we arranged the end of the friendship ourselves. We may have feared intimacy to such a degree that we never revealed anything about ourselves to our friends. We may have induced guilt in our friends to ensure their loyalty or indulged in other forms of emotional blackmail. if our friends had others in their lives, we may have felt so jealous and insecure that we tried to remove the threat of their other friends. Our behavior ranged from taking our friends hostage to taking them for granted. We may find several instances where we sacrificed our friendships for romantic relationships. Okay, like I said, the next section we're going to start on is the bottom of page 43, and I'll decide where we stop from there, but I'm not going to do that right now. But the other thing I wanted to share was the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful makeup that Nicole sent me, that I am so grateful for, because I am so grateful to have her. So I'm going to show them off to you. The first one is the Natasha Denona Mini Tropic Palette, and that's what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing this blue shade, and then this darker blue shade under that. And then I have the Tardiest Pro Glow palette, which is a blush and highlighter palette, which is very beautiful. Trust me, what I show you here does not do justice for it. And I'm using a combination of this one on top, which is called Dance Floor, and the one in the middle, which is called A-Lister. That's this one and this one. And I absolutely love those. I mean, it's what I'm wearing on my face to make it kind of glow. And then I have, forgive me for being in your face, I have two Zodiac palettes, but this big one here is by BH Cosmetics. It's Zodiac Love Signs, and it's got 24 eyeshadows and one highlighter. And once again, showing you does no justice, but that's what it looks like. And I have this blue shade right here. I have that over the other blue shade. And then I used this I think I used the Leo or the Cancer for the top. But there's a reason I haven't done a makeup tutorial with them yet. And that reason is because I'm still getting comfortable with them myself and figuring out what looks I can do, what looks good, what I shouldn't do, you know, what I'd be happy to show, what I'd not be happy to show. So, as soon as I get comfortable and come up with something that I want to show off, you guys will be the first to know. I am trying to set up my account so that I can live stream. And I'm going to take off my glasses for a minute. This is what the eyeshadow looks like. So once I get that straightened out, I will be able to live stream and interact more with you, which is what I want to do. But the good news is I went and had my TB test result read today and forwarded onto occupational health so that I can make it to recovery coach orientation on the 19th. So I'm one step closer to being an actual peer recovery coach. And the sounds you hear in the background are our little 5-week-old kitty cat babies, and they're not happy that we have them in kitty cat jail at the moment. So I'm going to cut this off for now and give them a little bit of love, and I will talk to you guys later. I love you. Stay clean and sober. Don't drink and drive. But most of all, hit like and subscribe, and come back and see me again. Bye-bye.